Hi, Zizaran here with another video for Scourge League, and I wanted to make a quick video talking about all the previous build guides I've made, because I know there's a lot of people that will go back and look at 3.14 guides and 3.15, and I just wanted to quickly say that this might still work. If you're a new player watching this, if you're new to Path of Exile, you don't have much experience with putting together your own build, this will be less useful for you. You're going to be definitely better sticking to all the new league starters we're going to be having up to date for 3.16. In this build, I'm going to be outlining which ones you can probably still make work with some light changes and why or why not. So one of the videos we did for 3.15 was a Toxic Rain Raider league starter. It was insanely strong. People really enjoyed it and it did everything. Raider should probably be pretty okay, but I feel like a lot of the Raider was, it's got insane good speed and it's still having a lot of that. But part of Raider was that it gets like the ailment immune stuff, which was a lot harder for other builds in 3.15, but in 3.16, ailment immune is going to be so easy that this isn't so important. We are making a new guide with Lighty for a champion Toxic Rain, and that is probably going to be the strongest build in the entire league. Not much to say about this one. There is going to be a new Essence Drain guide coming. Now, do remember, Essence Drain is no longer S tier as it wanted to be, but I do like making guides for A because it's a big meme, and what is a league if I don't make an Essence Drain guide, right? But it's also a big comfort pick for a lot of people. However, it can be pretty rough if you're a new player and you don't really know how to scale it. So we are making a new ED guide, and obviously Slinger is getting sort of a buff because of the restoration changes. But ED is going to be a hard thing for like endgame bosses. Exploding SRS. This is one of the strongest builds I've ever played. I think it was probably the strongest build of 3.14, at least for hardcore, and just insanely strong for what it is. I remember a lot of other creators reached out to me like, wow, that is definitely not a meme anymore. Like Ventura as well was just saying he was impressed with like how strong SRS had become. 3.15, it basically got a pretty big nerf, with the minion damage no longer being a damage support gem for the exploding SRS because it reduces the life. So the increased, it's the same as not having a link there, right? Because the reduced life and the increased damage, they equalize. So SRS, it is obviously affected quite a lot by the EE changes. We're losing a further 40% damage now. I was able to get it when I was POBing it. It did have like 4 or 5 million damage. The problem is I'm actually not going to be making a new guide for this because it's not really something I want to recommend. I would definitely say you absolutely can make this build work. It's going to be cheaper than ever before because you're going to have very few people going for it. The hardest thing is going to be getting a really nice helmet. The reason for that is because the minion damage on a helmet is no longer a damage support link. It would just increase your mana cost for like, we're talking like 0.2% more damage. It's barely anything. If you do manage to get a really nice helmet with like conk effect, minion life, +3 levels, hypothermia, and then we chill with skitterbots to make hypothermia work, then yes, absolutely, you can probably get it to 8 to 10 million damage. But it's so much more work. So again, I'm not super recommending this guide, but for those that are able to make it work, yes, should be absolutely fine. My league starter, Forbidden Rite Totem Hierophant, it was one of the strongest, probably the strongest, easiest, cheapest damage for 3.15. From everything I looked at it, I'm definitely not making a guide or a starter for it. I don't know if you can make it work at all. I would very much assume no. This is completely dead and you're going to be looking at self-cast. So recommend staying away from this unless you really know what you're doing. I would love to like be wrong and people are like, yo, look, it's still like pretty good. Not making a guide because I don't want new players especially to like have a bad league start. Trinity, Detonate, Dead Necro, League Starter should be really, really good. I think Lily was already POBing this. Should be a very strong build. Again, not making a guide for this. We are potentially making a DDVD guide. I'm working on with Jung Ron on making an Inquisitor that he's going to do. And I'll be recording the guide for that. And we are maybe looking at a Necromancer. But I'm struggling a little bit to get enough damage. We're at around 600,000 right now and not the best gear. Can maybe get it a little over 1 million, which isn't too bad for hardcore. If you're over 1 million damage, most bosses can be pretty okay, but a little bit slow, but obviously you're super tanky in return. But come Captain America, Steel Mage's Spectral Bleed Shield Throw starter for 3.15. A lot of people seeing the patch notes and probably think that this is completely dead. I wouldn't say so, but lower your expectations. So this is actually a pretty good league starter. It's going to have like a similar role to ED, where it actually loses 40% of the damage. So honestly, you will already feel that at the Conquerors. Now, Shield Crush has gotten a damage boost, so you could switch to Shield Crush once you start doing bosses and stuff like that, and then that should be fine. But these builds were never super high damage to begin with, right? However, if you just want to build, that's going to get you to like 10 to 13s pretty fast and early, and you want to just clear nicely, this should still clear absolutely like a dream, right? Like so much is carried by the explosion, but you are definitely going to like have to min-max a little bit more, so it's not something I'm going to be recommending. Steelmage is looking at more bleed builds this week to see about making a guide for it, but we'll see. Looking back at like 3.14 ones, the slam builds, Quantric is going to be making a slam berserker for us for this league, so it'll be a really strong berserker slam builds. We are making a new slinger. It looks really good with a I think it was just exsanguinated slinger. It looks really good. Obviously, these are never going to be like super good boss killers. They're going to be okay at bosses, but really good map clearers. Blade Blast is getting a buff. So I might look a little bit into Blade Blast. And I could see Blade Blast Chieftain and Assassin both being pretty good this league, to be honest. It's the first time I'm making a video like this, just like doing a rough overview of the old builds and looking a little bit back, because I've had so many people lately like go back and look at like builds from 3.12 and 3.13, be like, hey, I'm really struggling with this build. And I'm like, bro, if a build is over if a video is uploaded more than 3 months ago, just don't use it. Just don't use it unless you know what you're doing. But if you're a new player, for the love of God, look at current builds. Like if someone uploaded a Leaguestarter even 10 days ago, they probably don't know what they're doing. You really want builds that are uploaded after like patch notes, after POB, etc. So you really know that you have a solid build. But either way, I hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you like it, I'll make a build like this or a video like this every league and just talking about like some past builds and which ones will work for if the people that do have some experience putting a build together and just need to know if it's a lost cause or not. But either way, thank you guys so much for the insane support on YouTube. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.